Okay, so moving on to our next speaker, we're delighted to have Owen Hurcum. I hope I've pronounced that. I think it's a Welsh name properly. And Owen is the first non-binary mayor, and he will be in conversation with Niah. I think I may be pronouncing that incorrectly as well, so my apologies. And Niah is the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion lead in the EDI Ireland. So I'll now hand you over, and thank you very much. And you're both very welcome. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Angela. I'm Niah for everybody, and I am an ally for the LGBTIA community. I'm a white female. My pronouns are she, her. I have purple hair at the moment and blue eyes. I'm wearing a black shirt, and my background is light blue walls in the front room, and you'll see very large dogs passing backwards and forwards. They're my work from home buddies. And like Jill said, delighted to be joined by their worship, Owen Hurcum, the mayor of Bangor. You're very welcome, Owen, and excited to have a chat.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm hoping all this technology works. I'm actually in the middle of moving house, so I'm on a borrowed laptop with a borrowed webcam, but it all seems to be working quite well. And it's a real pleasure to be here. So thanks for inviting, and I'll just do a quick introduction to myself, following the lead of Niah. And so I'm Owen Hurcum, and Angela, you did get the pronunciation right. My pronouns are they, them. I am the mayor of Bangor. I've got, well, currently just a mess of a hair colour, but that's pretty standard for me. I'm wearing glasses, which seem to be reflecting a bit, and I've got a white background behind me. But yeah, no dogs, unfortunately.
You can borrow mine. But that's brilliant. Thanks so much for that, Owen. We might start out with a brief kind of overview of who you are and what journey has brought you sort of to become the mayor of Bangor.
Yeah, so it sort of, formally it all started in 2017, my local politics and my being active in local politics, but really that's the short story. I won't say too much more other than I'm sure many of you know what it's like to grow up in a very politicized family. My dad was very political from a very young age, same with my mum. So I've always been, you know, I would describe myself as left-wing and active. And then when I moved up to Bangor, I had a chance to run for local council through the party I was involved with at the time, Plaid Cymru. And I took that opportunity wanting to, you know, make a difference in my local community in all the ways that local councillors do. So sort of not the bins, that's actually the council above us, but sort of, you know, shops on the high street, looking at planning applications. We've got a lovely pier, so looking at things like that, and just general policies that we can do to sort of benefit the lives of everyone living in Bangor. And that was back in 2017. And after being on the council, I never really came out as having a queer sexuality. I just sort of acted upon that and didn't mind if people saw me making out with someone cute at a nightclub of whatever gender. I was, you know, I didn't really feel the need to do that. But during all that, I was still questioning things to do with my gender, because being openly queer was great, but it didn't fill the hole that was sort of I could still feel inside me. And I realized, having spoken to non-binary people in my community, that was probably who I was. And I went away and I looked into it more, and it was sort of a light bulb moment where I was like, oh yeah, that definitely is me. I match everything there. And then I ended up coming out in 2019, and fortunately, and I had full support from both my family, my colleagues on the city council, and obviously my friends and the LGBT community here. So that was really nice, and that was really pleasing. And I sort of grew into being more confident in that. And I sort of found myself being able to be me more and worry less. And then 2 years after that, it was the election for mayor. And despite having left the political party I used to be a member of that party was still wanting to put me forward as their candidate for mayor. And I was then backed by a second party and unanimously elected as the mayor of Bangor. And I like to think I've been doing the best job I can since then, both in terms of being, you know, Bangor's mayor and the day-to-day there. We've just excitingly been announced as Peer of the Year. So that's what this week is. It's lots of talking about our peer. I like to think I'm doing a good job there, as well as representing the non-binary community, which so often doesn't get the representation that it needs. and yeah, hopefully I've been doing a good job on that, and that's sort of my story of getting to the position of mayor.
Brilliant. And have there been any hurdles that you've had to sort of face head on, or you went, I really have to find a way to overcome that in your process of becoming mayor?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I was very fortunate that members of the city council, and while some of them might not know exactly and might still occasionally get things wrong, it's all coming from a place of support, and I really don't mind that. If somebody makes an honest mistake, it's no skin off my back, and I've been really pleased that the city council have always been supportive and always been willing to learn. But there have been obstacles and hurdles, but these aren't coming from within the council. These are coming from, well, it's coming from people who just see who I am as an active non-binary person and go, yeah, we don't like that, that's wrong. So, I get the standard hate online, and hate messages and hate letters. The city council received both emails and physical letters about people who just want to speak a tirade against me. I mean, I've been very active online calling out transphobia where I see it, and that has been led to me being investigated by national ombudsmen for being misogynistic, because apparently, as a non-binary person, I can't call somebody who's a trans exclusionary radical feminist a trans exclusionary radical feminist. So, I've had those, but the biggest obstacle I had was when it was just building up to being mayor, and the mayor of Bangor is elected in-house. So you publicly elected to the city council and then in-house elected to the position. And that's been the way it's been since 1884. And no one's ever had any complaints. And suddenly, when it was announced that I was going to be mayor, there was 3 different letters written into local newspapers saying that I was an affront to democracy. And they were like, oh, it's nothing to do with who they choose to be. It's just, us locals need to vote. And it's like, how come it's only been a problem when it's me? It seems funny that you've been in Bangor, 50 years, and you've never once cared how the mayor is elected, except when the mayor is a publicly raging queer. It just strikes me as a bit. But again, and that actually led to an investigation, double checking all sorts of laws, and yeah, just a lot of stress, and it almost looked like it might come crashing down around me. But fortunately, saner heads prevailed, and I was able to get into the position. And as I said, since then, besides the hate that I can sort of shrug off, I've been very fortunate that I've had the support network around me, both in terms of councillors and members of council staff.
It is a lot more work, isn't it? Something that comes very naturally, the doors that open very naturally for other people. It's that continued resilience to go, no, we're going to just keep going. We're going to just keep going to kind of push through in order for you to be able to be that representative for community that people never had a problem with, but suddenly as it's coming forward, they're going, no, this isn't okay. No, this isn't okay. How do you, what helpful tips and tricks do you have for yourself to build that resilience and to overcome those hurdles?
Yeah, so from a lot of trial and error. I mean, it's probably not the best thing to admit, but we're being truthful. At first, it was genuinely quite stressful, and I would definitely say, and I worked behind the bar of a pub as well, so I would say I was probably drinking a bit more than I really should have been, because it was just, I was doing it with friends, but it was still like, I need to go out, I need to have a drink, I need to calm my nerves. And, once I realized that actually it was the talking to my friends who would come out with me more than the drinking that was calming me down, I sort of realized that that's where I needed to pursue. And so it was having an amazing group of supportive friends around me that was really able to help me get through those. And also then just realizing that actually, I can't let it get on top of me. I can't let them try to put me back in the closet. And weirdly, after I knew I had the support group around me, it was just being even more unapologetically me, that made me feel more comfortable doing it. Because I soon realised that almost everyone had an opinion on who I was, which is a weird thought, because Bangor's a small place. It's got a couple of local newspapers, and they all interviewed me and ran a story on me. So I was recognisable because of my crazy hair and the fact I'd been in the news. And everyone had had an opinion on me, whether it was a good opinion or a bad opinion. Everyone had an opinion, and then I realised, well, sod their opinions. I'm just going to be as me as possible, and if they don't like that, I can just talk to my friends and have a joke at their expense. And that's what I started doing as well. When I got particularly interesting hate mail, I would screenshot it and send it around my friends and be like, look at this person, look how funny it is, because it is quite funny when somebody goes out their way to message you that they're not a chicken, because, and that's a real piece of message I got a message saying, can you ask the mayor what you are, because I'm not interested in what you are not. What is not binary? I am not a chicken. And admittedly, it's funny. It's funny when somebody is just so incensed. And it's those little things that get you through, because then when you do get the harder hitting hate mail or the death threats or the threats of violence, you've got ones you can laugh about and then ones you deal with in a serious matter. And it sort of brings people together as well, in your support, and I'm very grateful for that. And so those will probably be my tips. Find a group of friends and talk about, and just be open, and as open as openly you as you can be, because there's no point letting them win and hide that side of you away.
That's brilliant. There's a lot of talk around, finding your tribe and finding your chosen family if you don't have that natural support system there, built in from maybe a biological family, that you can find people that you connect with and that celebrate you for you. And I think that's brilliant to be able to, at the end of the day, you can go, no, I'm exactly who I want to be. I'm exactly who I feel I need to be. And I have people going, yes, you're doing good. You have people now they can see and go, if he can do it, if they can do it, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. And that helps make the world, I think, a much better place and a much more inclusive place. We have about 6 minutes left. So kind of as a final closing question, what would you want the groups and the audience to bear in mind as they contemplate seeking out those leadership roles and putting themselves forward into those visible spaces?
Yeah, so I think one of the things, it's sort of a couple of warnings might be a strong word for it, but a couple of things you need to keep in note is that if you go into a public leadership position of any kind, especially as a minority, everyone will have an opinion on that. People will switch from that's disgusting, or why does that matter? Why should we care about that's who you are? Can you do the job? And the answer is, well, yeah, I wouldn't have got the position if I can't do the job. But you just need to be prepared for people to sort of have those opinions and have those things they want to say about you or to you. And once you know that that's what you're going into, you need to, if you're okay with dealing with that, or dealing with that with a group of people and a support network, then you need to set about carving out the way forward, not just for you, but people following after you, and just sticking to your guns. Don't let anyone bully you out of a decision because, you're worried that, oh, they might not like me for who I am. I know for a fact that in my job as mayor, I've gone to external meetings and I've spoken to, and I've had to be, as polite and because, we're requesting money as a city council to people I know for a fact who disagree with the very existence of non-binary people. But you've got to go there and you've got to do your job, and then you can complain about it afterwards. And that's another thing that's quite hard, because I would love so much when I go up to somebody who I know has publicly made statements against the existence of people like me, I'd love to go and be like, hey, screw you, you're a bit wrong. But I've got to be like, so that £50,000, that would be really nice. Thank you very much. So it's not compromising your principles, not at all. But you've just got to unapologetically be you, but don't hold a grudge, not until at least after you're finished with the job, because you need to be able to do what you're doing. And if you do it right, and if you do it proud, that's more effective than going and telling that person to go screw themselves, if you pardon my language, because just doing it right and doing it for the organization that you're leading is far more effective model. So, but also it is an amazing opportunity to be in a leadership position, and you will find that people you never even knew will reach out to you and, not only offer support, but thank you for the support that you've offered them, just by being visible. Because as I said earlier, there isn't much non-binary representation out there, and certainly not in the political sector. So it's been really refreshing to try and be that role model that I would have liked when I was growing up. But so I would say go for it, just bearing the caveats in mind, but it's definitely worth it.
That's brilliant. I don't know that we have any questions coming in, but if anybody does, we have 3 minutes left for questions for Owen. But we do have a note from Peter Lewis in the chat. Great to know that being strong and resilient doesn't mean having to do it all on your own. Having support around you is so important. Totally agree.
Yeah, completely. I mean, if you have to do it on your own, people can have that strength and might need to do that until they find, as you said, that chosen family. but the stronger and more resilient people always have a group of people around them, and as soon as you find them, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Right. I don't know if we have any other questions, comments. We might hand it back, but thank you so much, Owen, for taking the time out today. Really appreciate it, and some great nuggets of wisdom for everybody. And good luck on the houseboat. Sounds very exciting.
It will be. I'll moor it on our Pier of the Year.
Very good.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you both being present today. So thanks again, and for sharing your story with us. And you're all amazing. We're really keeping to the time as well. And hopefully the students are hearing what you're both speaking from the heart. And I think what's coming through is, you know, if I see it, I can be it. And that's hopefully, you know, from today we want to, you know, put those thoughts in the students' minds as well. So thank you both very much. And I don't know, can you stay on? You're more than welcome if you can stay. And so thanks again. Appreciate that. Thank you, Owen. Thanks, Niamh.